Hey everyone. I hope you could find me. My power went out, and so I couldn't go live at our scheduled link, which is really upsetting. But Facebook makes that link disappear like as soon as it goes past the scheduled time. So here I am. Hopefully you'll find me. If not, I'll go back and I'll, share the video again, and we'll link it up in the email. So today is day three of our 5-day post tenure video series. So I'm going live every day this week at 2:30. If it happens again that I lose power and so you can't find me, then don't worry. Like, I'll be here live on the page as soon as I can, even if I have to use my phone. But anyway, so yesterday, the first day, we talked about permission to feel certain ways post tenure, and we kind of bonded around those ways. Yesterday, we talked about the 3 obstacles to achieving big goals post tenure, and those were: obstacle 1, you're too entwined in other people's stuff. Obstacle 2, big goals cost money. And obstacle 3 was you got to up level your project management, and probably you need to get more team around you in different ways. So today I'm going to dig into actually probably those last 2 a little bit more, because we're going to talk about what I hear from a lot of post-tenure women, which is like, I worked really hard, I've learned so much, I've done so much, and yet here I am, and I still don't have the budget to do my projects the way I want to do them. I still don't have don't feel like that comfort in terms of my take-home salary. And so there are like money issues that you get to when you are mid-career. And one of the participants in the first video, or one of the people watching the first video, commented that she asked, like, what about, should I, if going for full doesn't come with a promotion, like, should I even do it at this, where I am right now? So I want to talk about those things. So first of all, I just want to say, like, if you're joining me live, go ahead and say hello and where you're joining from. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and drop hashtag Team Replay in the comments. So today I want to talk about ways to bring in more money post tenure, and I'm specifically talking about leaving that a little bit vague, because different people post tenure are going to want different things. Okay, so I'm going to talk about 5 ways to bring in more money, but I want you to know that these are almost 5 different paths post tenure. So the first way to bring in more money is to get promoted, right? Is to go up for and achieve full. Now, if you look at the numbers in terms of promotion, there's a very, very leaky pipeline through the tenure track system, because about 50-50 men and women, and we don't have information in most of the reporting channels on non-binary folks, but mostly men and women are 50% out of the PhD, if not women a little higher in terms of the number of women who graduate from the PhD and then get on to the tenure track. No, who graduate from the PhD. Then there's a drop off for getting onto the tenure track. And then there's another drop off at tenure. And then there's a huge drop off at full. So what you end up is you have a big disparity, gender disparity at the full professor level. And there's a couple of ways that plays out. Okay, one is, you don't have all the benefits of being a full professor in terms of prestige, in terms of different ways that full professor can unlock opportunities for you. But also, it contributes to the wage disparity, because it's very different at different institutions, but the biggest pay raise is often from associate to full in US contexts. And again, that's really different depending on what university you're at, what type of university you're at. It's much more pronounced at an R1. It's much more pronounced in the sciences. So there's a lot of caveats there. But that getting promoted in many cases is a way to increase your salary. And what I think is really upsetting about women not going up for full is that if you don't go up for full because of exhaustion or because of, just you feel kind of like you need to take a break, and then you end up kind of just never going up for full because you never get around to it. I think that that's really problematic in terms of what it means for women in general and representation at full professor. So one way to make more money and to bring more money to you and your household and to your projects is actually by getting full professor, right? That's a way, getting promoted. Again, with all the caveats that go with it, some places it's going to bring in more money than others and all of that. Okay. Way number 2, post-tenure, to bring in more money is to go down the admin track, okay? And this is, again, like we have a lack of women in leadership positions at universities, okay? So we have fewer women presidents, women provosts, and so there's this like leaky pipeline where people don't make it all the way through to their, goals if they decide to take an admin track. So admin definitely means a pay raise. And if you want to pursue that track, that is one way to increase your salary and to get in a position of power so that you can influence the institutions where you are. So people who have a real mission to make their institutions better, who are very good at leading, who are good at negotiating, who are good at vision casting, those are the people we want in admin. Those are not always the people we get in admin. And so I think it's really important that women who feel that those are their strengths, that they pursue an admin track. And I want to say that pursuing an admin track is not as easy. Like, it might be easy in your department to become the department chair. I know it was like a hot potato in my department, but people didn't want to do it. Like, nobody wanted to do it. Or very few people wanted to do it. It was like a little bit of a hot potato that people kind of passed around. But after that, it was competitive. And so if you have your sights set on an admin career and what you envision for yourself as being provost, then there's things you should be doing now in order to, pave the way for that to happen for you. And again, that's related to talking about big goals post-tenure. If you have a big goal, you got to think about what that big goal is and reverse engineer it. It could be full, it could be provost or dean or, director of something. You find it, you think about it, you name it, and then you can reverse engineer it. And just to keep in mind that with admin, that you might be talking about, switching universities. Okay, so a lot of admin, like, they get some experience where they were as a professor, and then they move to another university into a leadership position there. And so that promotion process might not happen all at the university where you are right now, but you're going to have to think about, okay, am I willing to leave? Like, what does that look like? What skills do I need to build? What experience do I need to have in order to make the admin path the successful path for me? Okay, so that's 2 ways. The third way of increasing your salary post-tenure is bringing in grants. And I guess that's a way to increase your salary if your grants can hold summer salary or buyout for you. But also, it's a way to just increase the amount of resources that you have and the money that you have around you so that you can build your dream, right? Like, so if you have a certain vision for your line of research, but that vision needs equipment and people and whatever, then getting grants is the way that you're going to have to That's something you're going to have to pursue. And same thing, like when you were talking about big money grants, they are not your first grant. There needs to be like foundational grants and foundational publications that lead to those multi-million-dollar types of projects. Okay, so if you're just tuning in, today we're talking about bringing in more money post-tenure. Okay, intentionally vague. Some of it is more money for you. Some of it might be more money for your projects. We've talked about 3 ways so far: getting promoted to full, going on the admin track and being successful there, and bringing in grant funding. Okay, number 4 is to get a better job. Number 4 is to move institutions and go to, do a parallel move where you are already associate level, potentially already full, and you have built a reputation for yourself to the level that you can go and command a better salary at a different institution. And sometimes this means a different type of institution. So this sometimes means that you've been very successful at an R2 and you're ready to move to an R1, or an R3 and you're ready to move to an R2, or you're at a teaching college and you're ready to move to an R2. Like that you're changing type of university. But again, this takes vision, it takes reverse engineering, it takes believing that you can get more for yourself, that you can do better, that you can be competitive. So that's number 4, get a better job. And number 5 is consult, start a side business, or package your skill set in a way that is not through your institution. That actually is what this week's podcast is about. The one that dropped yesterday is about you are not the container. Okay, so especially this is super important at the post-tenure level, is realizing the amount of value that you bring to any situation that you are in. And so that means that that it's realizing what that is, so that then if you decided to offer that value through a different container, and what I mean is your institution is a container, but it is not the only container through which you can shape your career. You could shape your career doing the same, having the same impact, bringing the same value, creating the same type of impact on the world. You could do that as a professor. You could do that as a consultant. You could do that founding a business. You could do that founding a nonprofit. Like there's a lot of different containers through which you can enact your vision for the world. Okay, so sometimes post-tenure people decide to start side consulting businesses, or they decide to leave their academic institutions and go to a nonprofit or a government job, or just basically what we call switching containers. So those are the 5 ways to bring in more money post-tenure are: get promoted, go on the admin track, bring in grants, get a better job, and start a side gig of some kind. So why are we talking about this? We're talking about this because in the post-tenure moment, which of course is not one moment, it's a long time. Post-tenure is 20 years. And you may, over the course of 20 years or more, right, decide to try all of these methods. You might decide to do all of these things. But the message I want you to hear today is that all of these things involve you coming up with or envisioning a big goal for yourself, and then figuring out your path towards that goal. Okay. And that is exactly what we help women in our Elevate post-tenure program to do. So after my video is over, I'm going to go back and edit the description and put the link to the application to join Elevate in there. We have run 2 cohorts in 2020 through our Elevate program. Our inaugural cohort started in February, and then we also ran a cohort in June. This year in 2021, we're only running 1 cohort. We're pushing everybody to participate in the 6-month program between February 2021 and July 2021. And we are giving people a long runway to learn about the program and decide if it's right for them. And that's why we're talking about it now and we're accepting applications now. We only have 20 spots. 4 are filled. And remember, this is for February. So 4 were filled before we started even promoting it. So it's, if you're interested, I really encourage you to fill out the application. What happens when you fill out the application, we're collecting up applications this week. I'll be going through them later in the week and we'll be writing to you and saying like, yes, we would love for you to come to our invitation-only training, which we are doing on October 29th. And at that training, we're going to be talking about the 5 keys to up-leveling your post-tenure career. And so these kind of short videos where I'm briefly, giving you some things to think about this week. We're gonna do a 90-minute workshop where we'll really get into more nitty-gritty about the things you really need to be doing post-tenure to up-level your career. Hi, Leslie. I'm so glad that you joined. I love the idea of doing some post-tenure journaling. And so I'm just going to jump on that idea for a second before I say goodbye. So the cool thing about this is that a lot of times, you go up for tenure, you turn in your dossier, and then you crash. And that's okay, because I do think you really need to rest, right? Especially when you turn in your dossier and all of that, you go through that kind of self-evaluation process and all of that. It's like, well, yes, you need to crash a little bit. If there's any way that you can do some planned self-care, that would be great, pandemic self-care, whatever that means for you. But I do think you don't want to stop dreaming about the next level and the next thing. And who we really want to work with inside of our Elevate program are women who are ambitious and a little bit agitated, a little bit I'm not going to, 2020 was not good enough for me and I'm making 2021 much better. So those are the kind of women that we're looking for. If that sounds like you and your post tenure, or even if you have, put your tenure packet in, I encourage you to apply for our program. Come to our invitation only talk on October 29th. And if you think the program is a good fit for you, to grab one of those spots that are kind of going fast. So tomorrow I will be back on, hopefully without any problems with our power going out, so that I'll be at the correct link at 2:30. And I don't even have my notes in front of me because I had to the power went down, then I had to get everything back up again, and so I don't even have my notes for what I'm talking about tomorrow. But it's gonna be awesome. So I'll see you then. Have a great day. Bye.